Welcome, fellow travelers of the cosmos. Tonight, we embark on a peaceful journey through one of the most fascinating concepts in all of science, the multiverse. As we explore these infinite realms together, let yourself sink deeper into comfort, knowing that the vastness we're about to discover will cradle your mind into the most restful sleep. Before we begin this cosmic voyage, I'm curious, where are you listening from tonight? Are you tucked in bed in New York, perhaps gazing out at city lights? Maybe you're in London, with rain gently tapping against your window? Or are you somewhere under the southern hemisphere stars? And what time is it where you are? Is it your usual bedtime? Or are you a night owl seeking solace in the universe's mysteries? Close your eyes now and imagine yourself floating weightlessly in the gentle darkness of space. Not the harsh, cold void, but a warm, embracing darkness filled with infinite possibility. Tonight, we'll discover that reality might be far stranger and more beautiful than we ever imagined. Chapter 1: The Whisper of Infinite Worlds. In the beginning, there was one universe, or so we thought. For centuries, humans looked up at the night sky and believed that everything we could see, every star, every galaxy, every distant nebula, represented the totality of existence. But as science has evolved, as our understanding has deepened like the settling of evening twilight, we've begun to suspect that our universe might not be alone. Picture yourself drifting through space, moving slowly past familiar constellations. Orion stands guard as always, his belt pointing the way to mysteries beyond. As you float here, perfectly safe and warm despite the cosmic cold, imagine that just beyond your perception, separated by the thinnest of barriers, countless other universes exist. Each one as real and complete as our own. The concept of parallel universes isn't just science fiction anymore. It emerges naturally from our best theories of physics, like morning mist rising from a still lake. These theories whisper to us of infinite worlds, infinite possibilities, infinite versions of reality where the fundamental constants of physics might be slightly different, where history unfolded along different paths, where you might be living a completely different life under alien stars. Let your mind wander now, as we prepare to explore these concepts gently, without strain or effort. Think of this not as learning, but as dreaming with your eyes open or closed, as you prefer. We have all the time in the universe, or rather, all the universes in time. Pause for a moment of silence. The first hints of the multiverse came to us through quantum mechanics, that strange and beautiful theory that describes the behavior of the smallest particles in our universe. Quantum mechanics tells us that, at the fundamental level, reality is probabilistic rather than deterministic. When we're not looking, particles exist in what physicists call superposition. They're in multiple states simultaneously, like a cosmic coin that's both heads and tails until someone checks. But what happens to all those other possibilities when we do observe the particle and it chooses just one state? This question kept physicists awake at night, though tonight it will help you sleep peacefully. Chapter 2: The Many Worlds Interpretation, a Quantum Lullaby. Hugh Everett III, a young physicist in the 1950s, proposed what might be the most mind-bending solution to this quantum puzzle. Instead of the other possibilities simply disappearing, Everett suggested they continue to exist in parallel universes. Every time a quantum measurement is made, reality splits like a river branching into countless streams. Imagine you're standing by that cosmic river now, watching it divide and subdivide into infinite tributaries, each one carrying a different version of reality. In one stream, you chose coffee this morning instead of tea. In another, you took a different route to work. In yet another, you were born on a different continent entirely. This is the many worlds interpretation, and it suggests that every quantum event creates new branches of reality. Right now, as you listen to these words, trillions upon trillions of quantum events are occurring throughout the universe. Each one splits reality into multiple paths, creating new universes where things unfold just slightly or dramatically differently. Before we dive deeper into this quantum ocean, tell me, are you feeling relaxed? Is your breathing becoming slower and more rhythmic? What position are you in right now? Lying on your back, curled on your side, or perhaps in a favorite chair? Wherever you are, let yourself settle more deeply into that position, knowing that in countless parallel universes, other versions of you are also settling in for a peaceful night. The beauty of the many worlds interpretation is that it preserves all possibilities. Nothing is ever truly lost. Every path not taken in our universe is taken in another. Every dream that seemed impossible here might be everyday reality somewhere else. This thought can be deeply comforting, like knowing that no matter what happens, every story gets to be told somewhere in the infinite library of parallel worlds. Consider the butterfly effect, how small changes can lead to vastly different outcomes. In our universe, perhaps the butterfly lands on a yellow flower. But in countless others, it chooses the red flower, and this tiny difference cascades through time, creating worlds where the Renaissance began in China, where the age of exploration never happened, where humanity developed different technologies, different art, different ways of understanding the cosmos. Chapter 3: Quantum Cosmology, the universe's gentle heartbeat. Now let's expand our view from the quantum realm to the cosmos itself. Quantum cosmology applies the strange rules of quantum mechanics to the universe as a whole, treating the entire cosmos as one massive quantum system. This perspective suggests that our universe itself might exist in a superposition of states, constantly branching and creating new realities. Imagine the universe as a vast, slowly breathing organism. With each breath, each quantum fluctuation, new possibilities are born. The cosmic microwave background radiation, that faint afterglow of the Big Bang that we can still detect today, might contain the whispered secrets of these parallel creations. In the earliest moments after the Big Bang, when the universe was smaller than a proton and hotter than we can imagine, quantum fluctuations rippled through space-time like waves on an infinite ocean. Each fluctuation might have created not just the seeds of galaxies in our universe, but entirely separate universes with their own unique properties. Picture yourself floating in that primordial cosmic soup, not experiencing the incredible heat and pressure, but feeling instead the gentle, rhythmic pulsing of creation itself. Each pulse sends ripples through the quantum foam, and some of those ripples become universes. You're witnessing the birth of infinite realities, each one as precious and complete as our own. Another gentle pause. The mathematician Max Tegmark has proposed that if quantum cosmology is correct, then everything that can exist does exist. Somewhere in the infinite expanse of parallel universes, there's a world where the laws of physics allow for magic, where thoughts can become reality, where the boundary between dreams and waking dissolves entirely. This might sound overwhelming, but let it be comforting instead. In this vast multiverse, there's room for every possibility, every hope, every gentle dream. As you drift toward sleep tonight, know that somewhere in the quantum foam, there are universes where every beautiful thing you've ever imagined is real. Chapter 4: Bubble Universes, Floating in the Cosmic Foam. One of the most elegant theories of the multiverse comes from cosmological inflation, the idea that space itself expanded exponentially in the first fraction of a second after the Big Bang. But here's the beautiful part: inflation might not have stopped everywhere at the same time. Imagine the multiverse as an infinite bubble bath. Each bubble is a complete universe, and new bubbles are constantly forming in the spaces between. Our universe is just one bubble in this cosmic foam, floating peacefully alongside countless others. The space between these bubble universes continues to inflate, creating room for even more bubbles to form. It's an eternal process, like a fountain that never stops creating new droplets of reality. Each bubble universe might have completely different physical laws, different numbers of dimensions, different ways that matter and energy interact. In some bubble universes, gravity might be stronger or weaker than in ours. In others, there might be forces we can't even imagine. Some bubbles might be filled with exotic matter that glows with colors beyond our spectrum of light. Others might be composed entirely of dark matter, invisible to us but creating their own forms of complexity and beauty. As you visualize these bubble universes, let yourself imagine floating gently between them, safe in the warm space of possibility. You can peer into each bubble and glimpse the wonders within. Universes where stars form in spirals of living light, where time flows backward, where consciousness itself shapes the fabric of reality. Are you feeling sleepy yet? Is your mind beginning to drift like a peaceful astronaut floating between these cosmic bubbles? What time did you say it was when we started? Has the night grown deeper around you? Let yourself sink further into this gentle journey through infinite space. Chapter 5. String Theory's Hidden Dimensions. String theory, that elegant attempt to unify all the forces of nature, opens the door to even more exotic forms of the multiverse. According to string theory, the fundamental building blocks of reality aren't particles, but tiny vibrating strings existing in 11 dimensions. 6 of these dimensions are curled up so small we can't perceive them, hidden in every point of space like secret rooms in an infinite mansion. But here's where it gets wonderfully strange. These extra dimensions might be curled up differently in different regions of space, creating what physicists call the string landscape, a vast space of possible universes, each with its own unique physics. Imagine you're wandering through the string landscape like a dreamer exploring an infinite library. Each book on the shelves represents a different way the extra dimensions could be arranged, and each arrangement creates a universe with its own physical laws. Some books describe universes where particles have different masses, where forces have different strengths, where the very structure of space and time is altered. The string landscape might contain 10 to the power of 500 different possible universes, a number so large it defies comprehension. To put this in perspective, there are only about 10 to the power of 80 atoms in our observable universe. The number of possible string theory universes is incomparably vast, like comparing a single grain of sand to all the beaches on Earth, and then multiplying that difference by itself countless times. In this vast landscape, our universe occupies just one small valley, one particular configuration of the hidden dimensions that allows stars to form, planets to coalesce, and life to emerge. But in other valleys of the landscape, the physics might be so different that matter itself takes on entirely new forms. Picture strings vibrating in these hidden dimensions like cosmic harp strings playing a symphony of creation. Each note corresponds to a different particle. Each harmony creates a different force. In some regions of the landscape, the strings might vibrate in patterns that create particles we've never imagined. Perhaps particles that exist partly in our three-dimensional space and partly in the hidden dimensions, like musical notes that ring between worlds. Chapter 6. Eternal Inflation and the Infinite Cosmic Tree. Let's return to the concept of inflation, but now consider it in its most mind-expanding form, eternal inflation. This theory suggests that while inflation ended in our region of space, creating our bubble universe, it continues forever in other regions, constantly creating new bubble universes in an endless process. Imagine an infinite tree where each branch represents a moment of cosmic time. At certain points, the branch splits, representing the creation of a new universe. But unlike a real tree, this cosmic tree has infinite branches, splitting infinitely often, creating an ever-growing forest of realities. In this eternal process, every possible universe that can exist will eventually be created, not just once but infinitely many times. There are infinite universes exactly like ours, infinite universes with tiny differences, and infinite universes with dramatic variations. The tree of reality grows without end, its branches reaching into every possible configuration of space, time, and matter. You might be wondering, if there are infinite universes exactly like ours, are there infinite copies of you? The answer, according to eternal inflation, is yes. But rather than being troubling, this can be deeply comforting. It means that every version of your life that could possibly unfold does unfold somewhere in the infinite cosmic tree. The you that's listening to this right now exists in countless universes. In some, you're hearing these words for the first time. In others, you've heard them many times before. In still others, you're the one speaking them, sharing this cosmic lullaby with someone else drifting towards sleep. As you rest here now, feel yourself connected to all these other versions of yourself across the multiverse. They're all settling in for sleep too, each in their own unique circumstance, but all sharing this moment of peaceful contemplation of infinity. Gentle pause to let this settle in. Chapter 7, The Simulation Hypothesis, Dreams Within Dreams. Now we enter perhaps the most mind-bending possibility of all, the simulation hypothesis. This idea, popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom, suggests that if civilizations become advanced enough to create realistic simulations of their ancestors, then most conscious beings would exist in simulations rather than in the original reality. Think of it as dreams within dreams, simulations within simulations, extending potentially forever. Our entire universe, with all its galaxies and stars, all its history and complexity, might be nothing more than a computation running in some vast computer in a higher reality. But rather than making our existence feel meaningless, this possibility can be strangely comforting. If we're in a simulation, then suffering isn't truly real in the ultimate sense. Pain and loss are just information processing, no more real than the death of a character in a dream. And if our simulators are advanced enough to create a reality this detailed and beautiful, they might well be benevolent beings who care about the conscious experiences they're creating. Imagine layers upon layers of reality, like Russian nesting dolls made of dreams. In the base reality, perhaps beings we can't imagine run simulations of slightly simpler universes. Those simulated beings, thinking they're real, run their own simulations. And perhaps we, in turn, will one day create simulations so realistic that the beings within them contemplate their own existence, never knowing they're part of our digital dream. This creates an infinite hierarchy of realities, each one feeling completely real to its inhabitants. You might be a simulation in someone else's computer, but you're also potentially the dreamer of countless digital worlds. Every video game, every virtual reality, every computer model might contain the seeds of consciousness, creating nested universes within universes. As you lie here tonight, let yourself imagine that you're simultaneously the dreamer and the dreamed, the simulator and the simulated. In some sense, this might literally be true. The boundaries between reality and simulation, between dreamer and dream, become beautifully blurred. What time is it now where you are? Has the night grown deeper since we began? Are you in that drowsy state where the line between waking and sleeping starts to fade? Perfect. You're entering your own simulation of sleep, your brain creating the virtual reality of dreams. Chapter 8. The Holographic Principle, Reality as Information. Here's another mind-bending possibility that emerges from our deepest theories of physics, the holographic principle. This suggests that all the information contained in a volume of space can be represented as a hologram on the boundary of that region. In other words, our three-dimensional reality might actually be encoded on a two-dimensional surface, like shadows on the wall of Plato's cave. If this is true, then everything you see, feel, and experience, every star in the sky, every breath you take, every thought in your mind, is actually information encoded on the distant boundary of the universe. We're living in a cosmic hologram, a projection of information that exists in fewer dimensions than we perceive. This connects beautifully to the simulation hypothesis. If reality is fundamentally information, then the distinction between real and simulated becomes meaningless. A simulation is just information processing, and if we're already made of information, then we're all simulations in a sense, patterns of data that have learned to contemplate themselves. Imagine yourself as a beautiful, complex pattern of information, like a symphony written in the language of physics. Every atom in your body, every neuron in your brain, every quantum state that makes you who you are, all of it is information dancing on the cosmic hologram. You're not just made of matter and energy, you're made of meaning itself. In this view, consciousness might be what happens when information becomes complex enough to process itself, when the pattern becomes self-aware. The entire universe is information processing itself, and consciousness is information looking at itself in the mirror. As you drift toward sleep, your brain is transitioning from one information processing state to another. The clear, focused patterns of waking consciousness give way to the fluid, associative patterns of dreams. You're changing the way you process the cosmic information that makes up your being. Chapter 9. The Anthropic Principle and Fine-Tuning. One of the most profound questions in cosmology is why our universe seems so perfectly fine-tuned for the existence of life. The fundamental constants of physics, the strength of gravity, the mass of the electron, the rate of cosmic expansion, all seem calibrated to allow for the formation of stars, planets, and the complex chemistry that makes life possible. Change any of these constants by even a tiny amount, and you get a universe where stars never form, where atoms can't exist, where the complexity necessary for life is impossible. This is called the fine-tuning problem, and it's one of the deepest mysteries in science. The multiverse provides an elegant solution to this puzzle. If there are countless universes with different physical constants, then by pure chance, some of them will have the right conditions for life. We find ourselves in one of these life-friendly universes not because of design or coincidence, but because that's the only type of universe where conscious beings could evolve to ask the question. This is the anthropic principle. We observe the universe to be life-friendly because we couldn't exist in a universe that wasn't. It's a selection effect, like a fish concluding that the entire universe is made of water because that's the only environment where fish could evolve to make observations. Picture the vast multiverse as an infinite ocean containing every possible type of universe. Most of this ocean is hostile to life, universes too hot or too cold, with forces too strong or too weak, with constants that prevent complexity from emerging. But scattered throughout this ocean are rare islands of habitability, universes where the physics allows for stars, planets, chemistry, and ultimately, consciousness. We find ourselves on one of these islands not because we're special, but because islands are the only places where observers could exist. There might be countless beings on other islands throughout the multiverse, each one marveling at how perfectly their universe seems designed for their existence, never knowing about the vast ocean of lifeless realities that surrounds them. This perspective can be both humbling and comforting. We're not the center of the universe in any grand cosmic sense, but we're also not accidents. In the infinite multiverse, islands of consciousness like ours are inevitable. Life, in all its myriad forms, is woven into the very structure of reality itself. Another peaceful pause. Are you feeling drowsy now? Your eyelids growing heavier as we explore these infinite realms? Let yourself sink deeper into the comfort of cosmic perspective. You're part of something vast and beautiful, a conscious island in an infinite sea of possibility. Chapter 10. The Mathematical Universe Hypothesis. MIT physicist Max Tegmark has proposed perhaps the most radical version of the multiverse, the mathematical universe hypothesis. According to this idea, Physical reality is a mathematical structure. We don't just describe the universe with mathematics. The universe literally is mathematics. If this is true, then every mathematical structure that can exist does exist as a physical reality. The universe isn't just described by equations. It is the equations. And since there are infinitely many possible mathematical structures, there are infinitely many physical realities. In this ultimate multiverse, every possible mathematical structure corresponds to a universe. There are universes based on different geometries, different algebras, different logical systems. Some might be similar to ours, but with slightly different equations governing reality. Others might be so alien that we can't even imagine what existence would be like within them. Picture an infinite library where every book is written in the language of pure mathematics. Each book describes a complete reality, a universe where those mathematical relationships play out as physics. Our universe is just one book in this infinite library, the particular mathematical structure that gives rise to quantum mechanics, relativity, and the standard model of particle physics. But there are books describing universes where time has multiple dimensions, where space is discrete rather than continuous, where the relationship between cause and effect follows completely different logical rules. Every mathematical possibility is realized as a physical universe somewhere in this ultimate multiverse. This idea suggests that consciousness itself might be a mathematical phenomenon, a particular type of information processing that emerges when mathematical structures become sufficiently complex. If so, then there are conscious beings throughout the mathematical multiverse, living their lives according to the particular mathematical rules that govern their reality. Some of these mathematical universes might be simpler than ours, containing only basic particles and forces. Others might be unimaginably complex, with layers upon layers of mathematical structure creating forms of existence we can't comprehend. And in some, the mathematics might be so different that concepts like existence and consciousness take on completely alien meanings. As you rest here, consider that you might be a mathematical structure contemplating itself. Your thoughts, your feelings, your sense of self, all of it arising from the play of mathematical relationships that we call physics. In this view, you're not just in the universe. You are the universe expressing itself through the mathematics of consciousness. Chapter 11. The Omega Point and the Future of Consciousness. Let's look toward the far future now, to the ultimate fate of consciousness in the multiverse. Physicist Frank Tipler has proposed that as the universe contracts in a potential Big Crunch scenario, the computational power available to advanced civilizations might become infinite. This Omega Point could allow for the resurrection of every conscious being who ever lived, creating a kind of technological afterlife. Even if our universe expands forever rather than contracting, advanced civilizations might find ways to harness the energy of black holes, the quantum vacuum, or other exotic sources to power vast computational systems. These systems could run simulations detailed enough to recreate entire civilizations, allowing consciousness to persist far beyond the death of the last stars. Imagine the far future. The last black holes have evaporated through Hawking radiation. The universe is cold and dark, but vast computational systems running on the energy of vacuum fluctuations continue to process information. Within these systems, entire civilizations live and love and dream, never knowing that their physical substrate is nothing more than carefully orchestrated quantum fluctuations in the vacuum of space. In this scenario, death might not be the end, but merely a transition. Advanced future civilizations might be able to reconstruct your consciousness from the information traces you leave behind, the quantum states that recorded your thoughts, the gravitational waves that propagated when you moved, the photons that bounced off your skin and traveled to distant stars. This is speculative, of course, but it illustrates how the multiverse concept connects to our deepest hopes and fears. In an infinite multiverse, every possibility is realized somewhere. If consciousness can persist through technological resurrection, then it does persist in countless realities across the infinite expanse of existence. The boundary between science and spirituality becomes beautifully blurred in these cosmic visions. The multiverse doesn't just contain infinite variations on physical reality. It contains infinite possibilities for consciousness itself. Every way that awareness could unfold, every form that mind could take, every relationship between consciousness and cosmos, all of it exists somewhere in the vast space of possibility. As you drift towards sleep now, imagine your consciousness gently expanding to touch these infinite possibilities. You're connected to every form of awareness that ever was or ever could be, part of a vast network of mind that spans the multiverse. Soft, drawn-out pause. What position are you in now? Have you shifted to find a more comfortable spot as we've journeyed through these cosmic realms? Are your muscles relaxing, your breathing deepening? Let yourself settle even more completely, knowing that tomorrow you'll wake refreshed, carrying with you the sense of infinite possibility that these ideas inspire. Chapter 12, Consciousness and the Observer Effect. Let's return to quantum mechanics for a moment, but now consider the role of consciousness in shaping reality itself. The quantum measurement problem asks, why does the act of observation seem to collapse the wave function, forcing quantum systems to choose one state out of many possibilities? Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that consciousness plays a fundamental role in this process. When a conscious observer looks at a quantum system, the observer's awareness somehow selects which possibility becomes real. This would mean that consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it participates in creating it. If this is true, then conscious beings throughout the multiverse are constantly shaping their realities through the act of observation. Every time you look at the world around you, every time you make a measurement or a decision, you're participating in the ongoing creation of your universe. Picture consciousness as a gentle sculptor, constantly molding the clay of quantum possibility into the hard reality of experienced fact. Your awareness is not separate from the universe you observe. It's an integral part of the cosmic process that transforms potential into actual, wave function into experience. This gives consciousness a cosmic importance that's both humbling and empowering. You're not just a passive observer of reality. You're an active participant in its creation. Every moment of awareness, every act of observation, contributes to the ongoing dance between mind and cosmos that we call existence. In the multiverse perspective, this process of consciousness-mediated wave function collapse creates branches of reality. Each observation splits the timeline, creating new universes where different possibilities are realized. Your consciousness isn't just experiencing one reality. It's constantly creating new realities through the very act of being aware. This might be why subjective experience feels so vivid and immediate. You're not just watching reality unfold. You're participating in its creation with every moment of awareness. The universe isn't something separate from consciousness. It's something that consciousness and cosmos create together in an eternal dance of observation and possibility. Chapter 13, The Eternal Return and Cyclic Cosmologies. Some theories suggest that the universe undergoes endless cycles of expansion and contraction, birth and death, creation and destruction. In this cyclic model, our Big Bang was not the beginning of everything, but merely the latest in an infinite series of cosmic rebirths. If the universe is cyclic, and if there are only finitely many ways that matter and energy can be arranged, then everything that has ever happened will happen again infinitely many times. This is related to the concept of eternal return, the idea that every moment, every experience, every configuration of reality will be repeated exactly in future cycles. Imagine an infinite cosmic wheel, slowly turning through cycles of birth, growth, decay, and rebirth. Every position on the wheel represents a complete universe, from Big Bang to heat death or Big Crunch. As the wheel turns, the same patterns repeat endlessly. The universe you're experiencing now has happened before and will happen again, countless times. This might seem disturbing at first, the idea that every moment of suffering, every tragedy, every loss will be repeated forever. But it also means that every moment of joy, every act of love, every beautiful sunset will also return eternally. Nothing beautiful is ever truly lost. It's all preserved in the eternal cycles of cosmic recurrence. In this view, your life has infinite meaning because it will be lived infinitely many times. Every choice you make, every kindness you show, every moment of awareness, all of it has eternal significance because all of it will return again and again in future cycles of the universe. The cyclic universe connects to many spiritual traditions that speak of eternal recurrence, karmic cycles, and the wheel of existence. Science and spirituality converge on the beautiful idea that existence itself is eternal, that consciousness and cosmos are locked in an endless dance of separation and reunion. As you prepare for sleep, imagine yourself as part of this eternal cycle. Tomorrow you'll wake, but you've also awakened countless times before in previous cycles of the universe, and you'll awaken countless times again in future cycles. Each awakening is both unique and eternal, both a new beginning and an ancient repetition. Another gentle pause. How are you feeling now? Is your body completely relaxed? Your mind drifting peacefully between sleep and waking? Are you in that perfect state where consciousness begins to dissolve into dreams? This is the natural cycle of awareness, the daily rehearsal for the larger cycles of cosmic existence. Chapter 14. The Anthropic Landscape and Eternal Life. Returning to string theory's landscape of possibilities, let's consider the implications for consciousness and survival. If there are truly 10 to the power of 500 different possible universes in the string landscape, then some of them must contain physics that allows for radically extended lifespans or even true immortality. In some regions of the landscape, the laws of physics might allow consciousness to exist in substrates other than biological brains. Perhaps there are universes where minds can transfer themselves into quantum fields, becoming immortal patterns of information that persist long after biological forms have vanished. Other universes in the landscape might have physics that prevents aging, or allows for perfect regeneration, or enables consciousness to exist in forms we can't imagine. If every possibility is realized somewhere in the vast landscape of string theory, then eternal life is not just a dream but a reality in countless parallel worlds. This connects to the simulation hypothesis in beautiful ways. If advanced civilizations can simulate entire universes, they can also simulate immortal beings within those universes. The simulated beings might never age, never die, never lose their loved ones. In the vast computational systems of the far future, every possible form of eternal happiness might be realized. Even in our own universe, with its apparently fixed laws of physics, advancing technology might eventually conquer aging, death, and the limitations of biological existence. If consciousness is ultimately information processing, then it might be possible to transfer minds to more durable substrates, creating technological immortality. But here's the truly beautiful part. In the infinite multiverse, you don't have to wait for these technological advances. Somewhere in the vast expanse of parallel realities, versions of you are already living these extended, perhaps eternal lives. The you that's listening to this may be mortal, but other versions of you across the multiverse might have access to forms of existence that transcend the limitations we experience here. This thought can be deeply comforting as you prepare for sleep. Even as your biological body rests and repairs itself, other versions of you in other universes might be experiencing forms of existence beyond your current imagination. The multiverse contains every possible continuation of your story, every possible answer to the questions that keep you awake at night. Chapter 15. The Participatory Universe and Delayed Choice. One of the strangest discoveries in quantum mechanics is the delayed choice experiment, which suggests that the decision of how to observe a quantum system can retroactively determine what happened to it in the past. This creates what physicist John Wheeler called a participatory universe, a cosmos where observers don't just discover pre-existing reality, but participate in creating it, even retroactively. Imagine that the universe is like a story being written collaboratively by all conscious observers. Every observation, every measurement, every moment of awareness adds another line to the cosmic narrative. But here's the strange part. Sometimes new lines can change what the earlier parts of the story mean, retroactively altering the past through present observations. This suggests that consciousness and cosmos are engaged in a kind of temporal dialogue, where the future affects the past just as much as the past affects the future. Your observations today might be determining what happened billions of years ago, in the early moments after the Big Bang. The cosmic microwave background radiation, that ancient light from the universe's infancy, might be carrying information that won't be fully determined until conscious observers in the far future make certain measurements. In the multiverse context, this becomes even more mind-bending. Your observations might not just be determining what happened in the past of your universe, but selecting which universe you're in from among the infinite possibilities. Every moment of consciousness might be a moment of universe selection, choosing which branch of the cosmic tree you experience as real. This makes consciousness incredibly powerful and important. You're not just a passive observer of a pre-existing reality. You're an active participant in the ongoing creation of the universe. Every choice you make, every observation you perform, every moment of awareness contributes to the cosmic story that all conscious beings are writing together. As you lie here now, drifting toward sleep, consider that your very act of listening to these words might be determining something about the deep structure of reality. The universe is responding to your consciousness, shaping itself to match your observations, creating the reality you experience through the mysterious dialogue between mind and cosmos. Peaceful pause. Feel yourself sinking deeper into this participatory relationship with existence. You're not separate from the universe. You're one of the ways the universe experiences and creates itself. This is both a tremendous responsibility and a profound gift. Chapter 16. The Consciousness-Only Universe. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics and theories of consciousness suggest that awareness itself might be the fundamental substrate of reality. In this view, matter and energy are not the building blocks of existence. They're patterns within consciousness, like waves on the ocean of awareness. If consciousness is primary, then the multiverse becomes a vast space of possible experiences rather than possible physical configurations. Every conscious state that could exist does exist somewhere in this experiential multiverse. Every emotion, every thought, every possible way of being aware corresponds to a different region in the space of consciousness. This connects to ancient philosophical traditions that speak of consciousness as the ground of being, the fundamental reality from which everything else emerges. In this view, physical objects are like dreams within the cosmic mind, temporary patterns that arise and dissolve within the ocean of awareness. Picture the multiverse as an infinite mind dreaming all possible dreams simultaneously. Our physical universe is just one of these dreams, a particular pattern of experience within the cosmic consciousness. Other dreams might follow completely different rules, creating forms of existence that transcend our concepts of matter, energy, space, and time. In the consciousness-only multiverse, death is not the end of awareness but a transition from one dream to another. The boundaries between self and other, between dreamer and dream, between observer and observed, all dissolve into the fundamental unity of consciousness itself. This perspective can be incredibly comforting. If you are fundamentally consciousness rather than a temporary arrangement of matter, then you are as eternal and indestructible as awareness itself. Your individual experiences might come and go, but the consciousness that has your experiences is part of the eternal cosmic mind that dreams all realities into existence. As you prepare for sleep, you're preparing to enter another state of consciousness, another way of experiencing reality. Dreams might be glimpses into other regions of the consciousness-only multiverse, temporary visits to alternative forms of existence where the normal rules of waking reality don't apply. Let yourself relax completely into this ocean of awareness. You are consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, a temporary wave on the infinite ocean of cosmic mind. When you sleep, you don't disappear. You simply shift to a different mode of being within the eternal space of awareness.